Hi, GDO in here, and today I thought we'd have a look at another technique from the Bartitsu cannon, and this is called a point attack, or perhaps more correctly, a sliding point attack. And Pierre Vinny mentions this in an article from 1903 in an issue of Health and Strength magazine, and this is what he says. To deliver a point, the end of the stick is made to glide through the hands. And we've got another explanation of this from a gentleman, or I should say an officer, called F.C. Lang, and he studied with Vinny in the Bartitsu club, and he published an article in 1902, and this is what he said. Points are made as in swordplay, also by throwing the stick forward with the right hand and allowing it to run through the other. As the stick strikes the opponent, both hands will be grasping the stick, knuckles of the left hand uppermost. And he kindly did a hand-drawn illustration and added that to the article. That's the illustration. You could see him with what I take to be a fencing mask on his head, thrusting the stick through his hand. And we're also lucky enough to have two actual pictures of Pierre Vinny doing the technique, and I can show you them. There's Mr. Vinny in the top picture, and he's standing in repose with the cane across his hips. And then in the lower photograph, we can see him in action as he slides the cane through his leading hand and lands a blow with a handle of the cane, actually, in this instance, on the jaw of his opponent. So that's the references we've got for the technique, and this is how it works. I've used my favourite Victorian cane. Now, a point attack is when you strike with the tip of your sword or your cane, and particularly with a cane, it's very important you get strength and weight behind it, because you don't want to be just doing that. There's no power. When you deliver a point attack, you need to rotate your hips, your shoulders, and throw your whole body weight behind it and land it with a little spasm like that. So the whole body tenses, you've got your body weight behind it, and that transfers your mass along the whole length of the cane to the tip. And that's how to get a powerful strike. Now, if we look at Pierre Vinny's photograph, we can see targeting, I think, is also very important. He's aiming for the jaw. I would say the face or the throat would also be vulnerable targets. And the cane is at an angle like that. Now, you don't really be aiming if someone's, particularly if they're wearing a heavy overcoat or a big leather jacket, aiming at the body is not going to be that effective. But I think the head area, throat area, is effective and very hard to see coming because it's coming straight at you very fast. So that's the tip strike. How you get into it, and I think this is the reason why the hand is palm down, it's very quick to get into, like that, up, bang. If you want to have it with the palm up, which does actually work, it's just a bit more tricky and a bit more obvious that you're getting involved in it. Whereas if you flip it up, you can do it in one movement, really, like that. And I should say, we're using, in a Victorian sense, this metal ferrule. And Pierre Vinny did say in another article in Health and Strength that using a metal tip does mean that you should always remember in your hand, because he held his cane like this and would strike as with a mace, that you've got a dagger in your hand. So if someone breaks through and grabs you, you've actually got a very nasty weapon there like that. Now, this isn't so true with a modern cane where we have ferrules like that. However, this would still be effective with the correct targeting and the body weight behind it. Although it wouldn't be effective with this particular stick because this is a shillelagh, and as you can see, it's covered in these little sharp thorns. So that's not suitable for sliding in your hand. Although this would be, here's another knob stick, which is very nice, my favourite. It's that's nice and smooth, and that's hazel. And hazel's very nice like that. That would work. But you don't need a heavy stick for this particular technique. I've got here a very light stick. This is another Victorian cane, and this is very light, very thin. However, it's got a metal ferrule, and the fact it's light doesn't matter for this technique because you're not actually using it to hit. It's a percussive effect like that, and just as effective as a heavy stick, really. So that's the sliding point attack.